So I'm going to be customizing this hammer for a gift for Father's Day for my stepdad. I'm planning on stripping the shellac off the handle. I'm going to buff this China stamp out. This is about a $30 Harbor Freight hammer. Looks pretty cheap, but after I strip the shellac off, I'll take it home, wood burn it, might do something with the head, maybe polish it. Also bought a punch set, stamp his name into the hammer head. To get this clamped up in the vise. I find the best way for me to strip shellac off hammer handles, I do this to all new hammer handles when they're brand new to me, is with a card scraper or a cabinet scraper. I don't have one here at work at the moment, so I'm just going to use some razor blades. Just take a razor blade and start drawing back. What you'll see is these little curls of shellac coming up. So I'm going to work at this for about 10-15 minutes here. Wanted to get one quick shot, show you guys exactly how this works. Put this in the vise. You can see some lettering left over here. When you're grabbing a razor blade and you're doing this with the razor blade, of course you need to be careful. But what I found works best if I bend it a little bit towards myself and then angle the blade back towards myself. You'll watch this come right off here pretty quick. And I can feel that's bare wood now, so I'm just going to go around the rest of the way. Alright, I've got all the shellac stripped off the handle. I do have to go back and sand the bottom off. These razor blades don't make scraping the bottom very easy. Another thing of note, if you're going to buy a hammer and you're buying a wood handled hammer, you're going to want to look at the grain on the bottom of the hammer. Right, so if you hold it as if you're going to swing it and you look at the bottom, you're going to want to see tight grain structure and running in parallel with the head of the hammer. You know, I've bought hammers with grain at a 45 degree, and that's about as far of an angle on the grain that I'd like to see on a hammer. I'll grab a couple off the shelf just to see which one looks best. This is hickory. It's got a pretty tight grain structure compared to the rest that were on the shelf next to this one, which is why I picked this particular hammer. Next, after I strip the shellac off, I think we're going to have to figure out what to do with the China stamping here. Okay, so this is a brass hammer. I'm going to do a couple tests. I've got a Milwaukee right angle die grinder here. I've got a Scotch-Brite pedal, see how fast this takes some of this brass off. Brass is pretty soft, so that's going to take too long. Take the Scotch-Brite pad off. Got this, I think it's 26 grit flap disc. I'm going to put a mask on. Cheap brass probably has some lead in it, so I'm going to keep working at this. Probably just use a die grinder for taking the China stamp out of it. Alright, so that actually only took about a minute. Just got it ground out. Now I've got a divot in the middle of the hammerhead now. I think I'm going to create another one right here and then come back with the Scotch-Brite pad to blend it all out. Okay, got both ends. With the lettering off, I'll go ahead and swap my discs here. This is a medium abrasive disc. This little Milwaukee die grinder has been such a lifesaver. It's useful for all types of stuff. Just wanted to give you a quick view of what that'll look like. Keep going on this and I'll step up to a blue Scotch-Brite, which is a little less abrasive, and then I'll figure out how to finish it the rest of the way. Alright, this is after the blue Scotch-Brite. I think it's actually got too much sheen in it, so I'm going to take it over to the wire wheel on the bench grinder and see what that'll look like. Yeah, I think that looks much nicer. It probably doesn't show up as nice on camera, but it smoothed everything out quite a bit. The die grinder, you get these little waves in the finish. And then this is that's a pretty even finish right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the sides on this wheel. Okay, it's not a quite brushed finish, but that's fine. I think once I get this handle stained a little bit darker, this a little bit more of a polished look from the factory, then the factory look might look a little nicer. But from here I'm going to go ahead and stamp his name into the top here, and then I'll take this home and wood burn in a custom grip design. I'm going to go over to the other bench. Just bought this at Harbor Freight for like 15 bucks. Just a bunch of stamps. We will see how nice this looks. I think I'm gonna go with a 2.5 pound. Seems appropriate. So, looking for an R. Just gonna show you guys just one of these stamps, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I think the idea here is to just get one good whack at it, because if you have to whack the same letter twice, you're gonna have you're not gonna have it perfectly aligned the second time, so you'll have like 2-letter R's barely on top of each other. It's gonna look a little funny, so maybe I should have that there on the bench. Let's see. Not bad. That went pretty well, actually. Alright, be back with you in a sec. You know, for about a second there, I was a little irritated that this kit didn't come with a period, like to end the last name initial. And then I realized that center punches exist, so I'm gonna quick knock this one out. So all the letters are misaligned and doesn't look pretty, but I don't know, that just adds to the character a little bit. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. You know it's handmade after looking at letters like that. Yeah, I think I'll like it. I think I'm gonna go back to the wire wheel and just buff over this section real quick. So that brightened things up really nicely, actually. Not sure if it made a difference on camera, but the letters definitely pop a lot more to my eye. Alright, I'm going to take this home and custom burn a handle grip section into it with my wood burner. Just wanted to show you guys one more thing before I go to my house to burn in the handle. This is a framing hammer. I think it's a Vaughan 28 ounce. I bought this maybe 5-6 years ago. You can see this is sort of the design I'm going after on the handle. I think, yeah, I also burned a little rose in and squint for safety. Something like this I'm kind of thinking. Alright, I'm back at home now. Now what I did here is I just took a pencil and rough traced in a design. That should turn out decent. I'm going to use my Knollwood wood burner. This is a super nice wood burner, but if you wanted to do something like this, you can go get a cheap one at Harbor Freight or your local hardware store. They're bound to have. It's basically like a soldering iron that just comes with some different tips. This one's got some more adjustment control and can pump some more juice through the tip there, so it allows me to work a little faster. But I'm gonna meet back with you guys here in a minute. I forgot my tripod at home, but should be able to capture most of the details here. Alright, that took about an hour and a half. I think it came out pretty decent. I'm going to put some tung oil, because that's just whatever wood finish I have on hand. I'm going to put some tung oil on the handle here, see how it turns out after a little bit of wood finish. I bought the wrong sized nitrile gloves a long time ago and I'm trying to use them up. Stuff's probably not super good for you because it's got all kinds of hydrocarbons in it. Never used tung oil finish before either, but let's see here. Oh yeah. And it's darkening things up a little bit. It's gonna look pretty nice. Get back with you in a sec here. Alright, tung oil's on. Got a little bit of this. It's like hockey tape. Just got it at Walmart. Just wrapped it up at the top of the handle just to protect it from some overstrikes a little bit. And I think it sort of ties everything together pretty nicely. Got name, cordless technology. Can't beat a cordless hammer. The project turned out pretty good. That's a thought that counts. If we were to do this again, maybe I'd use some sandpaper to give the hammerhead a brushed look, and I suppose it's really not too late to do that. Not a huge fan of more of the matte gloss finish, but I think it doesn't look bad how it is. This thing's meant to be used, not necessarily kept somewhere nice, but knowing my stepdad, I'll probably not want to use it. We'll see though. He's a HVAC guy, so roll the dice there. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching.